Tonight on EIV at 9, after almost 40 hours of deliberation, the jury finds a shocking verdict in the Aaron Hernandez trial. And the wife of a slain Boston doctor welcoming a special gift into the world today, how Michael Davidson is being remembered. For some, it was a new experience, others an old tradition, but opening day at Fenway had a little something for everyone. All this and more coming up right now on EIV News at 9. Welcome. Our top story tonight, Aaron Hernandez found guilty of first-degree murder in the 2013 shooting of Odin Lloyd. Hernandez now faces a life sentence without the option for parole. It took nearly 36 hours to decide the fate of the former Patriots tight end. A dramatic scene in the courtroom today as Hernandez's fiancée, Cheyenne Jenkins, broke down in tears as the verdict was read. Later, Odin's mother, Ursula Ward, addressed the court, saying she forgives the men involved with the murder of her son. Hernandez will now stand trial for a double murder in South Boston. And in the other major trial in Boston today, a federal judge in the Johar Tsarnaev case has ordered jurors to stay away from the marathon this year. The judge believes the festivities and the race could have an effect on the jurors in the penalty phase of the trial. Last week, Tsarnaev was found guilty on 30 counts relating to the bombing of the 2013 marathon. The jury now has to decide if Tsarnaev's punishment should be life in prison or death row. The penalty phase of the trial is set to begin next Tuesday. And of course, today is the anniversary of the marathon bombing. And as race day approaches, our marathon segment comes to a close as Bethany enters the final stretch of her preparation. EIV reports.
So I got on the trolley with New Balance and Marathon Sports this morning, and they drove us out to mile 5 for the marathon course, which is like near the Ashland Framingham line. And then I ran in 21 miles back here, and it snowed the whole way.
New Balance is a Boston-based company. We're really excited to be a part of the greater running community in Boston. We sponsored the last long run with Marathon Sports. New Balance had a couple of trolleys come up. We brought people out to the 5-mile mark so they could do their last long run, 21 miles, and they got to actually finish right here at the finish line, which is kind of unique. Most people aren't able to do that. We think that we're both really big pillars of the Boston running community, so we love partnering up with these guys. A lot of us are local. We all grew up around here. We all grew up around the Boston Marathon, and so it's really exciting for us to be able to be a part of this.
I'll run more. I usually don't taper as much as other people. To do less for 3 weeks and cut the long runs down, it's too much for me. Well, usually when I do a long run, it's really easy for me, and I don't feel like I exert myself or tire myself out at all.
This year I actually signed up for a trail marathon a week before, so I guess that'll be my last one. I think because I've been really stressed because my husband's been so sick. But yeah, I haven't really been sleeping that well, and my heart rate's been a little higher, and I just feel like anxious and nervous. So it's kind of unfortunately affecting my running, but
I mean, I'll finish it. I know that. It's not going to be fast. It's probably going to be my slowest Boston ever. But that's okay.
I'm excited, obviously, for the marathon. I mean, with or without the run, I think my excitement is probably equal. I think I'm excited for spring.
A 15-year-old boy stabbed with a machete. Springfield police say the teen is recovering from wounds to his wrist and back. The boy was attacked by 2 other teens on Monday night. He reportedly knew his attackers, but the reason behind the incident, that's still under investigation. The boy remains in the hospital tonight, but he is expected to survive. And the wife of a slain doctor welcomes a new baby girl. Dr. Terry Halprin gave birth to Michaela Jane Davidson on April 4th. Halprin's husband, Dr. Michael Davidson, was shot and killed at a Boston hospital back in January. Police say Stephen Passeri killed Davidson before also shooting himself. The family is now finding some happiness during a time of heartbreak. Davidson is survived by his wife, 3 children, including baby Michaela, who shares her father's initials. Human remains found in Cambridge last week sparked a citywide search for a suspect. Now a Massachusetts man is set to be arraigned on a murder charge. Carlos Kalina of Cambridge was arrested after the remains of Jonathan Chameleon were found outside of Kalina's apartment building. Galena pled not guilty to the charges. He's held on $1 million bail, and a motive for the murder is still unknown. An update on the U.S. relations with Cuba tonight. President Obama has major developments in seeking full relations with the island nation. International correspondent Angelina Salcedo is here with the story. Angelina.
President Barack Obama has agreed to remove Cuba from the list of countries that the U.S. considers sponsors of terrorism. The move follows the historic meeting between President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro, which took place last Saturday at the Summit of Americas in Panama. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest confirmed in a statement that the president has submitted all necessary reports and certifications to Congress. This is another major development in the U.S. relationship with Cuba since last December, when the president announced his plans to seek full relations with the country. And Japan's Hiroshima airport closed Tuesday evening after Asiana Airlines Flight 162 overran a runway while landing. According to the fire department and ministry sources in Japan, 23 people had minor injuries after the plane landed at 8:05 p.m. 74 passengers along with 7 crew members were aboard when the flight took off from South Incheon International Airport. The accident ripped a hole through the bottom of the plane and tore off the plane's stabilizers. Authorities continue to investigate initial reports that the Airbus 320 may have hit an object while landing. And nearly 400 migrants are feared dead after a ship capsized while attempting to reach Italy from Libya. The children's advocacy group Save the Children rescued approximately 150 survivors from the shipwreck, which occurred 24 hours after departing from the Libyan coast. The survivors were taken to Reggio Calabria, Italy, where they told the agency that the victims were likely young boys and minors. A record of more than 8,000 migrants have arrived in Italy since last Friday, and that ship was carrying about 500 migrants. So far, 9 bodies have been recovered from the wreckage.
Angelina, I know our viewers at home may know that it's been about a year since the Nigerian girls went missing. Of course, that sparked the major Bring Back Our Girls campaign. Michelle Obama was getting involved, Ellen was getting involved, along with a lot of American celebrities. Can you give us an update now, almost a year later, of what the Nigerian government has done to bring back these girls and find them, the girls who were captured by Boko Haram?
Well, Anthony, some of the girls have recently escaped and they were able to make it back, but the government, the new elect president Muhammadu Buhari, has not able to confirm that he will be able to find the girls. He said that their whereabouts are still unknown, so he's not sure that they'll all be able to be rescued and brought home, and that's why a lot of the Nigerian public and people in Nigeria are upset and just a little bit confused because they had promised that they would bring the girls home.
It's amazing. Almost over 200 girls still missing. Thank you, Angelina. And coming up next, Clinton is in, Rubio is in too, and we have our political correspondent to break it all down for us. The presidential race for 2016 is already underway. And I scream, you scream, but we really don't have to scream because it's free, guys. That's right, Free Cone Day coming up next. Welcome back to News at 9. Firefighters battled a fierce blaze in the North End yesterday. A 2-alarm fire broke out in Boston's North End neighborhood late Tuesday afternoon. Firefighters say the flames engulfed the top floors of the 4-story building. A firefighter and a police officer were transported to the hospital for burns and smoke inhalation. The police officer allegedly rushed into the burning building to save people inside. The Boston fire chief estimates the damage to total more than $100,000. And a high number of overdoses for one school this week. 4 students of Plymouth North High School were taken to the hospital Monday after allegedly taking prescription drugs. The students were transported as a precaution after becoming sick during school hours. According to the Plymouth police chief, one of the teens took pills from a relative and brought them to school. The teens have since been released from the hospital and charges are expected to follow. Mayor Marty Walsh's administration is pushing for a more diverse public workforce. A study compiled by Walsh's new Office of Diversity revealed that City Hall and department workers remain overwhelmingly white, despite a population that is not. The report was released yesterday and also found concerns extending to gender as well. Numbers show there are at least 2 men for every woman on the payroll. The mayor is vowing to push his cabinet officials and department heads to address this disparity. And Deval Patrick's new job is raising some eyebrows. The former governor of Massachusetts is joining a firm founded by his predecessor, Republican Mitt Romney. Patrick is developing a line of social impact investing with the Boston firm Bain Capital. The line will support causes from climate change to hunger. Patrick will become a managing director, meaning he will share in the profits of the firm. Patrick is also, by the way, the first African American to be a managing director at Bain Capital. And for more political news, we hand it over to Peyton Lewis.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, months of speculation coming to fruition as Hillary Clinton officially plans for a 2016 run. The former Secretary of State made the announcement in an online video Sunday. She kicked off her campaign in Iowa, heading to Kirkwood Community College to speak with students. And just at the heels of Mrs. Clinton, another Republican entering the race. Florida Senator Marco Rubio announced his candidacy Monday. The theme of the conservative leader's campaign is making the 21st century an American century. Rubio joins Texas's Ted Cruz and Kentucky's Rand Paul as the third major Republican candidate. And another Republican leader calling for a Social Security overhaul. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie proposed a new path for Social Security and Medicare while in New Hampshire Tuesday. The plan would gradually push back the retirement age to 69 and the Medicare eligibility age to 67. He also plans to reduce benefits for retirees earning more than $80,000 a year and completely eliminate them for those earning $200,000 a year. However, Democrats, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, have urged Hillary Clinton to expand the program rather than cut it. And protesters urging for higher wages took to the streets Tuesday. The Wage Action Coalition group marched from Northeastern University to the Boston Common to rally for minimum wage reform and union representation. 200 cities across the U.S. participated in the Fight for $15 movement today. But the Boston area group chose to march one day earlier out of respect for today's anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing. The Tuesday protest was just one of 12 planned by the Wage Action Coalition for this year.
Thanks, Peyton. A lot of outlets this week playing that clip of Hillary Clinton saying, "Wouldn't you like to someday see a woman president?" Well, she might not be the only one. So what can you tell us about Elizabeth Warren's bid for the presidential spot?
Now, you're right. The Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren has repeatedly said that she will not be running for president. However, she is facing enormous pressure from both Democratic Party officials and the general public. There's been petitions, there's been op-eds. Everyone wants her to run, it seems like. She's making rounds on talk shows as well. She appeared with an extended interview on The Daily Show earlier this week. She also appeared on Real Time with Bill Maher. Now, Maher offered her $1 million in a campaign donation if she decided to run. So while the window of opportunity is kind of closing for Elizabeth Warren, there is still time for her to change her mind.
All right, well, that'll be interesting to follow, but right now we have some more political news. President Obama is granting over $80 million in relief funds to Massachusetts. The president signed a disaster declaration for the late January blizzard after appeals from Governor Charlie Baker. Governor Baker remains disappointed, however, after his broader request for $400 million was rejected. The state will review records to see what expenses qualified for federal assistance. The state has 30 days now to appeal. A New Hampshire construction project is underwater tonight. Quite literally, renovations on the State House in Concord came to a screeching halt this week when a water main broke and flooded the entire area. The break has caused massive flooding in downtown Concord and left some businesses without water as well. Other areas of the city saw low water pressure and discolored water as a result of the break. The renovations to the State House were scheduled to be completed on Monday but have since been delayed indefinitely. And yesterday, many celebrated arguably the greatest holiday ever, Free Cone Day at Ben & Jerry's. It marked another year of business by giving customers free ice cream just in time for the warm weather. Lactose lovers lined up at stores from noon to 8 p.m. to receive a free cone of any flavor. If you missed it, like I did yesterday, remember there's always next year. It would have been Scotchy Scotch for me, by the way, if they still even make that flavor. But for more business news that doesn't involve any free ice cream, we turn to Charlie.
It's looking like someone's in trouble in the Eurozone. It starts with a G, but it's not Greece. Google is facing an antitrust investigation as European Commission regulators accuse the internet giant of giving unfair preference to its own search results rather than its competitors. Online shoppers using the search engine are more likely to see products from Google sponsors than other competitors. Google is facing up to $6 billion in fines, a hefty price to pay. Google has faced similar criticisms in the U.S., but charges have yet to be filed by American regulators. And across the Atlantic, a sail of titanic proportions in England. It may not be the door that Jack and Rose clung on to for dear life, but it's the next best thing. A deck chair from the doomed HMS Titanic is being auctioned off for an estimated $115,000 this week. The wooden Nantucket recliner was found floating in the North Atlantic soon after the ship sank in 1912. It's too fragile to sit on, but it's a rare item, the most legendary shipwreck in history. And the Apple Watch became available to pre-order on Friday. The highly anticipated gizmo was revealed last September and will be hitting stores April 24th. Apple received roughly 1 million pre-orders on the first day alone. Many customers have yet to wait until summer due to high demand. Competing brands like Samsung recently released their own smartwatches, but it's hard to deny the hype surrounding the new Apple product. I don't know about everyone else, but I plan on keeping my old Timex. And let's have a look at the numbers today. The Dow up almost 76 points, NASDAQ up 34, and the S&P 500 up 11 at the close. Another thing to look at, the rising ruble. The Russian currency is up nearly 20% this month, despite nearly a year of sanctions by the U.S. and EU over the Ukraine crisis. We'll be keeping an eye on that and have more for you next week. That just about wraps it up. For Market Watch, back to you.
Thank you, Charlie. But really, who needs money when you have great weather? Because still to come on EIV News at 9, our weather correspondent James Anderson will have our forecast. It's been a pretty great week so far, so we'll see how it looks the rest of the way. Stay tuned.
It's been a pretty sweet week so far. Warm temperatures and sunshine. Nearly all the snow built up over the winter has disappeared nearly. Hey, I still have a little bit laying around in my yard. Today was another sunny day. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-50s right now. Clear skies, not too bad out, a little breezy. Another nice night heading into tomorrow. Tomorrow again, clear as a bell. Wonderful day outside. Going to be around mid to lower 50s. The breeze is going to pick up towards the evening. But hey, overall, another pleasant day. Now let's sweep over to our extended forecast, taking a look at the weather. That's where things get a bit uncertain and likely damp for us coming up, at least on Friday. Friday will be up in the 60s, but with cloud coverage in the morning, and the rain is going to be off and on throughout that afternoon. It should cease by nightfall, though. Temps should stay in the mid-50s Friday night and clear up later. Saturday is going to be nicer, some clouds here and there. We will be in the mid to lower 60s, perhaps even touching 70 a little bit, 15-mile-per-hour winds during the afternoon. Sunday, partly cloudy, a little bit cooler though. Throughout the day, it's going to be the clouds. Temperatures in the mid-50s, going to be breezy. Nice day overall. It's going to prepare us for Marathon Monday. And with that, let's go ahead and send it back over to the desk.
That's right, James. Big day on Monday for the city. You know, the Red Sox have that early start at 11 a.m., then the race gets going. How are we looking weather-wise right now?
Taking a look at the weather right now for Marathon Monday. Kind of good news for runners, not so much for spectators. It's going to be a cloudy day. Temperatures are going to be in the low 50s, around like 50, 52. I'm thinking the clouds should lead towards rain later in the afternoon. So as everyone's making it towards the finish line over on Boylston Street around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we will likely see some rain starting to sprinkle around there. So it might get a little damp.
All right, so we're looking good for the runners. I say the cooler, the better. And while the weather may be beautiful now, dreary rain sent Bostonians indoors to the Boston Ballet in Dorchester, where dancers use their talents to connect with the community. EIV's Kobe Smalzel reports.
For the 6th year in a row, Boston Ballet encourages the city to rethink ballet. Boston Ballet partnered with the City of Boston and Boston Public Schools for 2 performances at the Strand Theater in Dorchester.
This was such a wonderful way to start the day. We had more than 1,000 students and teachers from Boston Public Schools, 20 different schools, here to celebrate with Boston Ballet. It was wonderful to share our work with them, and the enthusiasm was incredible.
City Councilman Tito Jackson showed his enthusiasm for the program on and off the stage.
Boston Ballet understands that the future of the city of Boston is a future that's more diverse and even younger. They're willing to make the commitment from the heart side, but also on the economic side to do this on an annual basis, and we are thankful in the city of Boston for it.
The Boston Ballet's Department of Education and Community Initiatives' goal is to connect the community to dance. Director of the program, Zakiya Thomas, thinks they did just that.
Boston Ballet is, in fact, Boston's ballet, and that it really has the power to transform many, many different populations of people that live in this city, and all it really takes is an opportunity to try it.
Community workshops are held throughout the week and are offered to students of all ages. Reporting for EIV News, I'm Colby Smallzell.
Thanks, Colby. More cruise ship illness this week and a rise in healthcare coverage. Those two stories and more coming up on Hunter Reese's Health Update.
Thanks, Anthony. A new poll this week states that 9 out of 10 Americans are now covered by some sort of health insurance. In the first quarter of 2015, the uninsured rate declined to 11.9%, a 1-point deduction since the end of last year. This is the lowest percentage of uninsured Americans on record, and research shows that this is largely due to Obama's Affordable Care Act, which was put into place at the beginning of last year. And the Celebrity Infinity marks the 5th outbreak of gastrointestinal illnesses on board a cruise ship this year alone. Currently, 112 people aboard the ship are suffering from symptoms such as vomiting and excessive sweating. This number includes 106 passengers and 6 members of the boat's crew. There are also 2,011 passengers who remain unaffected. This is the 3rd outbreak of gastrointestinal illnesses on the Celebrity Infinity, the first one taking place in 2006 and the second after a renovation in 2013. The cause of this outbreak on this boat and others this year remains unknown. The Celebrity Infinity stopped in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico on April 10th and again in San Diego yesterday. And a new study published in medical journals reveals that a new breath test may be used to diagnose and predict stomach cancer. With little symptoms in the early stages, many times stomach cancer is not found until it is too late. Hopefully, people may now be able to find out well in advance. Scientists have not completed their research, and no breathalyzer tests currently exist to predict stomach cancers. However, important progress has been made, and this new technology could be useful in detecting stomach cancer early, as well as any precancerous changes.
The siblings of Boston Marathon bombing victim Martin Richard were there to start the fun on Tuesday. Richard's 8-year-old sister Jane, who lost her leg in the 2013 attacks, helped sing the national anthem. Their brother Henry helped out too by handing the ball to New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, who threw out the ceremonial first pitch. Today, a moment of silence halted baseball at Fenway as the anniversary of the bombing was remembered throughout one Boston day. And for more on the Sox and the fate of the Bruins and Celtics, we turn to Lucas Frankel with your sports update.
Ah, yes, opening day is here, and it was a day spent celebrating America's favorite pastime right here in Boston.
7 straight years.
This is my second opening day with my brother.
Let's go Red Sox! Opening day is a tradition at Fenway Park. Fans come out in huge numbers to see their beloved Red Sox play their first home game of the season.
I love it. I love it. I was born here. I grew up with the Red Sox. It's they call them the cardiac kids. Now you know why. They pick you up, they let you down.
This is our special day together. We take a little time off from work and come to opening day.
And you know what? An opening day is electric. People are so excited to be here. It's like opening, the whole season for the Red Sox, just Yawkey Way and all the pumped up energy. It doesn't get much better than this.
I love baseball. It's a pastime. It's the greatest game in the world.
After the winter experience by the city of Boston, fans could not be happier to be back at the ballpark.
I was here last year with my new wife. We froze to death. This year was better. This year was much better. Nice and toasty.
Oh, I love it. It's great. Beautiful weather. I usually don't come, but the weather made me come, so I took a ride with my son.
Awesome. A day like today, the weather, the sunshine, it's a great day for baseball.
And even opposing fans couldn't resist taking in opening day at Fenway.
It's American history. Especially here at Fenway Park. We don't get to play the Red Sox a lot, so it's kind of cool that my hometown teams up here in Boston.
For the first time since last September, it's officially game on at Fenway Park. Reporting for EIV News at 9, I'm Lucas Frankel.
Atmosphere outside the stadium was definitely electric. Now let's head inside for the game. A special moment before the game, Pete Frady signing a professional contract with the Red Sox. Then the whole team comes out to pay homage. And to top it all off, the man himself, Tom Brady, throwing out the first pitch, but he bounces it. I gotta say, I was expecting more from the four-time Super Bowl champ. On to the game, and Mookie Betts stole the show. Bryce Harper corks one, but Mookie Betts takes it away, and he was not finished. Bottom two, 2 on, 1 out, and Betts rips a 3-run homer over the monster, his second of the season. How impressive has this guy been this year? He has future star written all over him. And what's opening day without a David Ortiz big fly? Big Poppy crushes one over the dead center field monster, his second of the season in the Sox. They roll over the Nationals 9-4 on opening day. And that is all for your sports. Sox get the W. What a day. Anthony, back to you.
Exactly, Lucas. I just have one quick question for you when we have time. Peter Chiarelli fired as the general manager of the Bruins today. What does that do for this team?
You know, it just shows that the Tyler Seguin and Johnny Boychuk trades backfired, Anthony. Didn't work out. The guys they brought in didn't get the job done. All
right, well, the Celtics are in the playoffs, so we'll be looking to you for that coverage. Thank you, Lucas. And finally tonight, a moment of silence was observed around the city in remembrance of the tragedy that took place 2 years ago today at the marathon finish line. Runners vowed to come back stronger than ever, and last year's marathon proved that to be true. Make sure to come back next week for our half-hour live Boston Marathon special. We'll be bringing in Kimberly and Bethany to talk about their 26.2-mile journey and take a look at the historical race. I'm Anthony Chase, and from all of us here at EIV News, we'd like to thank you for staying Boston strong. Have a great night.